Welcome to the ghost story edition of Outrage TV.
Even though it's January, I'm sorry, February.
We have decided to discard the overhead light source in favor of a more spooky edition here. And we're going to be writing some jokes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah.
No.
I figured I'd play y'all some stand-up clips since y'all, most of the people out here don't live in Hollywood, don't have the privilege of being able to come and check me out at the fourth wall. Oh, look at Facebook making me sign in again. It's the Jews.
And I'm looking away so I don't actually see your password. Not that it would be used by me, but still.
How dare you? You would log into my Facebook.
No, I just know me that if I know information and if the chance arises, I would definitely use it if need be. But I'd rather just not know it.
Well, the Chancellor has arised.
Wouldn't it be he's risen?
That's the point of the point. Look at that screenshot. That's super creepy.
That's super gross. That's my face. I'm just like, that looks perfect. Seems like exactly how I feel like, okay, and... I'm not even supposed to be here, guys. I just got over a huge, horrible sickness. I was sick for like 3 days. And when I say sick, I mean this shit was freaking swollen. Like, bad. And I wasn't even at my apartment for 2 days. Why? To avoid him from being sick. Because he's really mean when he's sick. So
when I'm sick.
So.
Is that what you meant?
When he's sick. You. He isn't you.
Have I even been sick around you?
How dare you say that? The last time you were sick, I literally came home and I was going to do something, and then I dropped everything. You were like, I'm gonna go do. You said you're gonna go do Postmates. And I was like, nope, no, you're not. You're staying in bed, and like you laid down. And I got you Advil, went to the store, did all this shit. I got you 2 times Advil. Yeah, you've been sick around me a few times.
Short-lived, because I know how to remedy the situation. You pound protein and broccoli.
I was only sick for 3 days, so I pounded sugar and...
You're already saying it in the past tense. It's jinxing it.
I'm not sick anymore. It's not jinxing it. It's only jinxing if you don't believe shit. I believe that I'm over the sickness. I'm not stupid. I'm an adult.
I thought your throat still hurt.
So your balls still hurt a little bit after you hit the ball. Still doesn't mean like you're still traumatized, right? They're not still hitting you, right?
She's over the sickness, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And we're breaking down some jokes here.
I'm trying to see if I'm getting my package.
This is Hollywood, California, where you can get shipments of weed delivered to your doorstep, and it's very progressive. And
my guy's on this way, so hashtag thank you.
Hashtag thank you for the drugs there.
Shut up.
Hardcore drugs.
No, they're not. No, they're not hardcore drugs, guys.
Softcore drugs.
They're not any kind. They're medicinal purposes only. And it's just weed.
Medicine being delivered.
Medicine beans.
Unto us.
Can we keep secrets? Can we like keep secrets to ourselves, maybe?
There are no secrets on the Outrage cast. All is revealed for the world to see, ladies and gentlemen.
You don't want everything. Everything. We can talk about some things. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about, Nick?
Don't say it like that.
In an actual way?
Don't say
Like it's actually happening? Oh, we're going to talk about...
Look at how cool the smoke looks on the flashlight. That's what we're talking about. The physics of flashlight vapor.
Did you guys see this? This is so cool. I got this cat in a hat onesie for literally $1.21.
Oh my god.
Thing
1, thing 2.
It's the cat in the hat, and literally, there's Grinch ones too at the Dollar Tree, Glendale.
Thing 2 is a comic in Hollywood who dares to say what's true. How dare you?
Well, then who's Think 1?
You. You're wearing the Thing 1 outfit.
No, it says the cat is back. You can't read.
Well, it's a Dr. Seuss reference. It's kosher. It applies.
And it's technically Dr. Seuss. Yeah, I'm thinking it's
Dr.
pronounced-
Seuss.
It's pronounced Seuss.
I don't think so. He was alive for many years.
And
People called him
on
Seuss.
today's first disagreement between Nick and Heaven is Seuss or is it Seuss? Look it up, weirdo.
Seuss, that's like the soy boy version. That's like people who eat tofu call him Dr. Seuss.
Look it up.
People who
Let's get the first debate out the way.
People who season their tofu with soy sauce call him Dr. Seuss.
My nose is so big. How often do you guys talk about yourselves? I feel like I talk about myself way too much. What about you?
She has herself as the background on her phone.
I'm a model, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Are you a model?
Excuse me? I'm so sorry. Should we get examples? I can get pictures.
Well,
look me up on Facebook, guys. Instagram me, please. I dare you, the kind one. TH.
right now with that hat, you look like a mumble rapper.
I don't care with this. It's not a hat, jeans, it's a scarf, and I look like
I look like I'm doing a podcast with Future.
It's
right
like
now.
I'm like in a bad and bougie swamp thing, you know. I'm just bad and bougie, good and classy. Bad and bougie, good and classy. I don't know, but I'm a swamp thing. What do you do, baby?
Percocet.
Ow, ow,
Molly
ow.
Percocet.
Ow, every time
Molly Percocet. Percocet.
There's so much just
Molly
right now.
Percocet.
I love how I'm in pain. He doesn't even stop for 1 second.
They thought I was doing a podcast with Future, and that's why we have no viewers right now. They were like, he sold out.
I don't need someone to watch me for me to know that I'm awesome.
He
so.
sold out.
I'm too beautiful for this anyway.
He has mumble rappers on the podcast.
I don't care if they watch, honestly. Don't bother me none. I'm so amazing. So what are we going to talk about today?
Right now we're Dragon Energy protesting
We're protesting what?
until we get some viewers in here.
Why? We can just keep talking.
We can talk about whatever you want, but I'm going to wait till we get some people in here to break down the stand-up clips here.
So, what do you guys think it needs to be talked about on stage anyway? Like, what's something you think is a subject you guys want to hear about? Like, 'cause I'm sure no one ever gets to put in a request before they see a comedian on a show. They just go and listen to what they have to say, right?
Yeah,
But has any comedian ever asked, like, after they're done, fill out these surveys and tell me what you want to hear about? Just saying.
Well, they want to hear what the comedian wants to hear about. That's the whole point.
I get it, but you can also have, like, an option. And it also gives you more things you haven't thought about to think about. You don't have to talk about those things, but just more free subject matter that you don't have to think about. It's actually taking work out of your palm of your hands.
That's why I'm doing the podcast here and getting some feedback on the stand-up, because the lovely Outrage community out there hasn't heard a lot of my stagecraft, and so we're going to present it.
When I do this, it makes me feel like this little butthole looks like.
Is that what? That's not what the people want to talk about.
Sorry.
How your lips look like a butthole. It's not. Butthole. If anybody's lips look like a butthole, it's mine.
That is facts. Mine is very juicy, big booty butthole.
Yeah, that would be like, inflamed butthole. You would need to go and see a doctor if your lips look like if your butthole looks like heaven's lips. You need to see a doctor. All right? You have a hemorrhoid situation that needs addressing. I feel like this lighting is weird.
I feel like your lighting is weird. There you go.
This is too yellow.
You're too yellow. Well, it doesn't matter to me. I look beautiful either way, so I don't care.
All right, let's take the creepy lighting off. Is that better? Worse.
That's better.
This is good.
Because of this, yeah. Just turn it off.
Turn the flashlight off? See, there's no flashlight.
Put it back to the flashlight. Your flashlight's better.
What's up, party people? Oh, we had 1, then 2 people watching, then no people watching. God damn.
That's fine. Keep talking.
That's all right. Let's play the first clip here. It's my theory on gender equality here.
This is that black guy shit.
This is John Bailey.
I'm talking in your white woman voice. I know that shit entirely too well. I'm like Laquisha as well. goddamn jacket game right now. Kevin Paula's over there, 24 carats. Fucking talking John.
Kevin Pollard has a goddamn gold jacket.
What?
It's super embarrassing.
What? Is he one of the Lucky Charms guy? Like, what's happening?
It's
He doesn't have to try that hard. He already has a presence. He's actually a really awesome guy. Like,
he's gold jacketed up. Anyway.
wow.
Red and shit.
What happened?
Found out you're gay.
Wow. What the fuck? Play. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're experiencing technical difficulties here with the goddamn stand-up clips. Let's download it and then play it. How about that? There it is. All right. So we're playing some stand-up clips for the outrageans out there and letting people know what the fuck is going on out here in the fourth wall in North Hollywood. And we getting down on stage out here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna play some jokes of what, and we're gonna talk about what worked and what didn't, and break down some premises and whatnot. All right.
Make it loud, Nick Jordan.
Get on your ass and fucking. I'm just feeling really insecure about my goddamn jacket game right now. Kevin Paula's over there, 24 carats. Fucking talking John, crimson red and shit. I'm JC Penney's finest. Instead of too thick in the arms, I gotta do more curls and shit. Fill this motherfucker out. What the fuck? I might start doing push-ups right now. I need to do a push-up set. Let the mic on the fucking stage and just embarrass myself, dude. Oh, not tonight. Don't get excited. Man, think about this little idea here. Like, I always hear women talking about they want more equality in society, and I found a way that could happen. I feel like they just need to start approaching men and taking us on dates more.
Mm-hmm.
That might help the situation, I feel like, because men, we're just getting entirely too creepy with it. We're failing at approaching women. That's what the last year has been about. We don't know how to do the shit without being fucking psychos. So, men can't do it without being creepy, man. So, let's have women approach us. Let's do that and let them deal with the rejection. That's the important part about like being a man is like learning how to deal with rejection from a woman. Like if you don't get there, you're gonna end up being one of those creepy Bill Cosby type motherfuckers. He couldn't handle rejection. He's like, you know what? I'm tilting the odds in my favor. That's in your dream, then. Because he didn't want that. He was so famous and shit. He didn't want that moment where she was like, you know what? No. Like, he didn't want that. His ego couldn't handle that shit, so, the women dealing with rejection, they couldn't, I don't know if they can handle that. That's, if men got all cocky and shit, then we just, like, our only job was, like, women just to stand around and look pretty on Instagram and shit, and work out, and stand in the corner and just reject women coming up to us. Nah, you're not good enough, bitch. Goofy fucking sandals on. Oh man, who the fuck dressed you? Your auntie? Man. That would be brutal. That would be brutal, man. But the only way it's gonna happen is if men stop fucking. Men gotta pull the dicks back. For like a month. Let's do it in December. No date December. Strike, baby. Dick strike. We stop slinging dick for 1 month and see how quick they come crawling for it. That strap on ain't gonna satisfy. But that's what women have in their back pocket. They could go lesbian. They could fuck the whole thing up if they just went lesbian and then the guys are just jerking off like, man, why did I agree to this shit? attacking us, though. If we pull it back, that's a power move. Power move, dude.
She's like, nope.
But, you know, they got the lesbian thing. And then, you know, the thing about men is they can't, there was no way we could agree on that, you know. And then, like, we go a month without fucking, there's gonna be like 20 wars launched and shit. It's gonna be, there's gonna be mass shootings everywhere, dude. That's not gonna help things, dude. Anyway, one last thing.
Okay, so I go into Donald Trump there for the end of the bit. So the premise is like, okay, men are terrible at approaching women and negotiating relationships. That was the whole Me Too movement. Men fucking suck at it. So the idea for equality is like, oh, we should have women approach men instead. And so what were the laugh lines in there? Like,
Sandals?
yeah, like men rejecting women at the bar. And you know, they got quiet when I kind of talked about Cosby, because it's like, I don't know, he almost fits into the joke but not quite. I don't know, there's something there, but I don't know, it's gonna take a little more work. I need like an analogy or a fucking some kind of, I need like one central premise to work from on that joke, and then like have it go into the act out. Like that's the central premise, is like having men pull their dick back and stop fucking for like a month, and then see if women started approaching us, and then you know, if they did, then it's like men rejecting women at the bar, and then if they didn't, it's World War III is launched. I think that's so if women approach men, women dealing with rejection. If they don't, World War III. So yeah, all right, let's play another one here. Let's see what else we got. All right, let's play this shit. Talking about diversity, ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful idea of diversity.
On the stage, please welcome my buddy and yours, Mr. Nick Jordan, everybody.
Yeah, this is an interesting clip here.
A couple white people stereotypes I've learned before the home. We hate ourselves.
So to set this up, there was this goofy fucking white dude who went on stage and was talking about how lame white people are, and we don't recognize stereotypes about ourselves, but we automatically recognize stereotypes about other races of people because, you know, we're just so racist. And so I went up there and was like, you know, a couple stereotypes of white people I've learned at Fourth Wall.
On the stage, please welcome my buddy and yours, Mr. Nick Jordan, everybody.
Couple white people stereotypes I've learned before the home. We hate ourselves. It's very apparent. I'm the lone exception, I think. You know, our shoulders could be bigger. That's about it. Everything else is just going right to plan. Other white people stereotype, we're starting to venture into ass play, and
He talked about eating ass in his set, and
So disgusting. Why would you do that? Your mouth's on my butt? And then you want to kiss me, I'm good.
So unnecessary. And it's just, you know, you'll see what I say.
Not for me. I offered my tongue up for that shit one time and my gums receded for a week. I was like, never again. Fuck all this bullshit. You know, she was from Louisiana. Maybe that was on me. Yeah. So time for the musings, the societal, the scintillating societal musings of Nick Jordan that he wrote while drinking beers in his car. Everybody. So, you know, you always hear diversity as a strength. And my question to that is, why is there not more people calling for more white people in the NBA? It's just... Like, can we not, like, you know, I mean, that was my dream growing up. People ask me why I'm not in the league, and I'm looking face to face every time I say systemic oppression. All right? Black people keeping me out. Nobody knows the struggle of a white man with hoop dreams, dude. Oh, man. I remember the first black kid who came into our town and started playing basketball with us. His name was AJ McGee. This motherfucker was bad as fuck, dude. Killer crossover. He made me fall on the ground multiple fucking times. And but there was no equality on the court with this motherfucker, because if you call it, he would call fouls on you, but if you call one on him, you would get popped in the chest by AJ McGee with his fucking knuckle out. Just,
I killed the mic right there.
No fucking mic. We good? Mike went.
I did that 2 consecutive sets. I fucking did the act out of poof, like him punching somebody in the chest and the mic fucking cord dislocated when I did that. So anyway, that threw off my fucking momentum.
All right. Wasn't the whole Martin Luther King thing to not, because like, it's weird to me that, you know, diversity only focuses on skin color. Because like, wasn't the whole Martin Luther King thing to not focus on the skin color and focus on the content of character? And the diversity officers are still like, well, that's true, but we do have too many white people in our company. What? That's, it's weird. Does the job involve a lot of direct sunlight? What's the... Is there an issue there with the melanin count? I don't... No, there's just too many, there's too many white thoughts floating around this office, okay? We need to multiculturalize the thoughts process around here. Oh, so you believe that different groups have the same thoughts, so I guess we need some black thoughts in here? They all think the same, don't they?
What up, Sadiq? Don't be asking about the Heaven's bald head there.
What? Of all the things we're talking about right now, that's what you focus on?
Sadiq said, why she got her bald. Now, that wasn't quite a grammatically correct sentence.
That wasn't a sentence, sir.
You almost did it.
Try it again, and then I'll answer your question.
But we appreciate you watching the stream. We're listening to...
Welcome!
We're listening to some stand-up clips here. I'm talking about diversity and some skin color there.
Happy February.
Ben Carson and Jay-Z, same thoughts. I want to see Jay-Z do some brain surgery, dude. Oh, it's your boy. It's over. And so, we're going to get this brain. We're going to open it up, baby. I want to see it. It's over. Yeah,
I did not commit to that act out. No. I was like, I thought it up in the car. I was like, that's going to be some good shit.
Oh my god, no, you sound pretty committed to me. I was like...
You can see...
Yes.
I was like, the visual wasn't as good because I was up on stage and I was like, you could see I didn't really commit to it, but like, I got the Jay-Z a little bit. It's Hova.
He sounds like a surfer. It's really the surfer. Like, oh, yeah, man, let's go.
It's your boy. It's Hova.
It's like so gnarly. shit, but just black.
We opened it up a skull site.
Bro, yeah.
I'm a victim of diversity discrimination. No, I applied for this job, it was funny. I applied for this job on Hollywood Boulevard, a coffee shop. And I trained there for a week, did everything right, didn't get the job. I went back there and got an espresso, and then I saw the person they did hire. It was a 300-pound pink-haired trans woman with a bunch of facial piercings. And I was like, God damn, how am I supposed to compete with that diversity hurricane? Like, I would have had to like get surgically attached to some fucking horse legs and come clip clopping in. I identify as a centaur. You didn't see our pastry maker is already a centaur, Mr. Jordan. That's you're too late.
We already have our centaurs all filled up. I'm so sorry. I could have been mad. Goodbye.
Yeah.
If you're a black centaur, that's different.
So maybe I just got to commit more to the Jay-Z impression in that shit, because does the concept work like I don't know, because they were kind of laughing at the setup where I was like, you know, oh, Martin Luther King said that it's not about skin color, it's about content of character, and the diversity officer's like, well, that's true, but we still have too many white people here, and it's like. We just have too many white thoughts floating around. It's like, well, that's... So you just think of, you know, different groups have different thoughts automatically. You know, black...
Well, we do have different perspectives. But also, I think it's not just about skin color, though. I think people are forgetting it's also about where you grew up. I'm not sure if they take that into... Because I'm from Burbank versus a black person that's from, like, I don't know.
It's really about income. It's not about skin color because...
No, not even income, because I grew up in Burbank, and yes, we had money, but we didn't have as... People, how should I put this? It's about your more like your nationality or where you are, and less about the color itself. It's about your upbringing and because let's say that there's a lot of gun violence happening in one neighborhood. In order for them to know what it's actually like to be around like that gang culture or whatever, they should consult someone that is not just black, but someone that's in that sort of like. In that environment where they're in Section 8 or they're in the lower income housing.
That's what I'm saying. It's socioeconomic.
Whether they're Hispanic, whether they're black, white, or in between, if they're in that, and if they're national, if they are placed there and they live there, they know how it is. Versus going with someone that just happens to be black, because there's a lot more black people who tend to be in the lower income areas. Don't get a black person from Bel Air that they still don't know what the fuck you're talking about because they live in Bel Air. Mm-hmm. So I think it might be a confusion. But also I don't know how that system actually goes. They actually go for people where their upbringing as well, but it just turns out that the upbringing does also correlate with race, or is it just?
That's my whole point. Is that they only focus on? Why is this not charging? They only focus on skin color, and skin color doesn't even come close to the whole story when it comes to determining somebody's perspective. That's why white privilege is a kind of dumb idea, because it's like you're assuming that white people all have the same experience. That like just because we're born in America and we're white, that suddenly gives us all this extra privilege over other people, and like just, I mean, the experience of a black person growing up in the hood versus the black person growing up in Beverly Hills is way fucking different.
It's quite
and so
different.
It's racist to assume that black people all have this same experience that they can, you know, bring to the table in this diversified atmosphere, and it's like valuable that we like mix all these different skin colors. Like,
it's mixing them together is good in aspects of genetics. Because it does help with genetics, with diseases and whatnot. The more you have mixed in, but either way, it's not about this, guys. It's about this and this that matters. The intelligence and the emotional and what's it called?
psychological.
No, the actual like intellectual intelligence, and also emotional intelligence that matters. It's not about this. This is neither here nor there. All of our skin can be burnt off right now, and we will just have pink underneath. Or we can have vitiligo, like Michael Jackson did, and you can slowly start turning white. What does that mean? Are you like crazy? Are you excommunicated? It's not about the skin color. It's about the intention behind it all. Because think about it. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. Aren't the different parties in the politics created so you have someone representing what your overall belief system is? So you have that person to speak up for you, since you can't speak up for yourself because obviously there's so many of you. They just have one person to represent you. Isn't that why they different parties have their representatives to represent whatever you belong to?
Theoretically, but in reality, it's a scam.
But no, it wasn't originally supposed to be that way. I'm saying it wasn't originally supposed to be that way. Now it's different because they lost the whole meaning of the original purpose. I believe the original purpose of why they do the diversity thing, or the original purpose was so if anyone of a different race comes into that company, they don't feel so uncomfortable that they don't have someone there to empathize with them, or even to relate to. Skin color is just the basic thing that they say, okay, you're black, cool. They don't know what that person grew up. But I think what it's turned into is that black person representing all black people that may be coming into the system now may
What's up, Simply A?
Hi. I think it's got mixed up because those people that are supposed to be representatives of those races that are for the affirmative action or whatnot, they're now supposed to just go along with whatever the narrative is for that race in that company. Let's say that a black person or a Hispanic person rather wants to sue the company because of hours or some shit like that. And because they have a Hispanic representative on there, cool, that's great, someone to represent you. But in that Hispanic representative doesn't agree. He knows that you have no validity in what your case is at all. But he can't say that because he's supposed to stand behind you and stand your point of view, whatnot, regardless of the actual facts of it. I think that's what it got lost in the actual integrity behind it. That yes, initially you have someone to feel comfortable enough to go to and be around when you are in a company or within a program at all that you can relate to on that level. But that doesn't mean that no matter what they have to side with that race, whoever that is, the employee or whatever. It's just, we shouldn't, banding together with thoughts doesn't also band together with races. I think we're clumping same race, same thoughts. Same race, same thoughts. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Same race, that's it. Same race, that's literally it. It's not same race, same thoughts. I think people get that confused.
Because it kind of when you focus on that, it encourages that like tribalism. Like it encourages a bunch of black people to be like, oh, I'm just voting Obama because he's black.
And that's what happens.
And it's like you lose the like sense of what the whole thing is supposed to be about. Is like, oh, he represents ideas that I agree with. It's like you're assuming that he represents ideas that you agree with because he looks like you, and that's fundamentally a bigoted thing. That's supposed to be what the left is supposed to be against, is like prejudging people based on what they look like.
That's what everyone should be against, not just. So you're saying that you said the left should be against that? No, everyone should. Everyone is supposed to be like that.
But at the same time, we all do it. So it's like there's fundamental like honesty of like, yeah, I do somewhat judge people based on how they look. If they have a fucking face tattoo, you're like, okay, this motherfucker might be dangerous. We do the same thing when
we're attracted to someone. When we first look at it, they're not your judge. Okay, no, thank you. The same thing. There's nothing wrong with having the prejudging. The same thing when you find your girlfriend, your wife, your person you want to hook up with. You initially, it's first eye contact or the visuals is what gets you first.
But we shouldn't be making like decisions on whether to hire somebody in a company
you shouldn't choose
based on what their skin color is.
You shouldn't be marrying
That's the dumbest shit ever.
Just like you shouldn't be marrying someone just based off she gives really good head or she looks really hot. That doesn't mean anything. She's probably an idiot and maybe she's not right for you, but you just basing off that, of course. That's what children do.
Well, come on, that sounds like a good wife to me.
Don't talk to me. But yes, other than him, yes. But yeah, no, it's the same basis. And I think we're getting caught up in it's very childish and very elementary to base such adult ideas off of such elementary basis. And that's what we're doing. We're taking elementary topics, basis, and using those for the decisions we make as adults. And that's just wrong.
Yeah, and it's against the whole idea of what America is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a tribal nation where it's like you look like me, like China. Like the leader of China can't not be Chinese. he has to be. He has to have the slant eyes going on, or it's like they think something's wrong. But the idea of America is we have an allegiance to a set of ideas that are very important, like separation of church and state, small government, low taxes, free market capitalism. But it's like,
And we're still,
as soon as you start incorporating that like tribalist idea of like, oh, this group of people that look this certain way need to be represented proportionally to their, percent of the population, and then it's like you just get people voting for skin color, and it's so weird.
But if you go off the basis you just said America's supposed to be this like lower taxes and all this stuff, then isn't the way that we're going, we're choosing our presidents and whatnot, the same way as the same theme as it is? We just have lower taxes. We have some of the highest taxes, especially California, in the country and in the world. We have very, very, very high taxes. Very few states have like no sales tax. But it's still property tax. We have a lot of taxes, and mind you, we have a lot of debt too. But so in that same instinct, we are making a lot of mistakes. Why would you expect us to suddenly be like, oh, we're still going to smarten up and be like, okay, cool. It's not just about race. No, we're doing the same shit. We are going the complete opposite of what our basis is, and how we're supposed to be. My understanding, America's supposed to be open-minded to other ethnicities, able to come and have a safe harbor if you follow the rules, and come and find at the melting pot for a reason. We will welcome you as long as you don't mess up the fucking soup. But now that people are coming in, we're like, no, we changed our mind. We don't do that anymore. It's not. Then what the fuck are we doing? Like, I'm so sorry. This is no longer America. It's something else.
Well, it's because I think the fundamental thing is the welfare state. Is because people can come in and get welfare, and then they're not necessarily coming in to uphold the ideas that America is about.
America's not about much greatness now, is it? Well, look at us. We're just fighting over bullshit.
I know.
So
because we've gotten so far away from the core ideas, and it's more about when you have that welfare state sitting there, that's like leaving a bag of money on your front lawn, and it's like, yeah, normally we would, people who succeed in this theoretical house of America abide by these principles and these ideals and these ideas that started the country. But once you have the bag of free money sitting on the lawn, it's like, well, what are they really coming for? Are they coming because they want freedom and they want opportunity in the free market and they want to succeed in a capitalist system? Or are they coming to just get free shit and then vote for more free shit because they come from countries where they have big corrupt governments, like in the third world, and that's what the populace produced in their country, so that's all they know how to do. So they come here and vote for big corrupt governments like the left that just all they can offer them is free shit. And it's like, that's how we got away from the ideas that started the country. Is we started giving not the government wasn't just to fundamentally protect people through the army and the courts, it was and the police, it was to hand people free shit that they didn't necessarily earn. And it's like, that's not the idea of America, and that's what gives birth to this ridiculous shit where we can just like make a bunch of decisions based on skin color and think that we're accomplishing something, progressive or nice or it's not. It's like regressive. It's totally going back in time to like
Back to the Future. What do you mean?
it's goofy as hell, and anyway, there's I don't know. I gotta tighten up that bit. Do you think the Jay-Z act out could work if I?
Yeah, just to be fleshed out more.
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna say.
The first part I didn't really have. The one part that worked was nobody knows the struggle of a white boy with hoop dreams. So I could just say that.
And you say the same tone as the song that is based off of. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen.
Oh, let's reply to the comments here. Simply A is leaving some good comments. He says, so a 3-year-old who is white and getting molested and raised by alcoholics is somehow privileged in life. It's just flat out racist statement, in my humble opinion. Yeah, white privilege does ignore, it's like the flat out statement that it applies to all white people, and it ignores that any possible struggle or negative things that could happen to white people, and it's just like laid out.
It's not about race, guys. What the fuck are we even talking about?
Well, he's talking about the concept of white privilege.
It's not privilege for anyone. It's not privilege for anyone to get hurt. I think we are all basically making this too basic. It's not about that. It's not about race or color. In order for it to not to be the issue, we need to stop talking about it because it's not the problem, obviously.
Well,
we keep going in a circle about talking about the same shit. Like this is wrong, this is wrong. No, how do we fix this?
Well, he's responding to the radical left
Because if a child gets molested, I don't care what race they are, you should protect them.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on the left, is what he's saying, that blame all white people and say that all white people are privileged.
Well, ignore them and prove them wrong by just ignoring them.
Here's what the leftists would say to that argument.
How do you know you're not even on the...
Here's what the leftists would say to that argument.
You're not even on that side, so how can you say that?
They would say, okay, no matter what happens to a white person that may be bad, no matter what struggle they might go through, if they were black, it would be worse.
Well, yes, it would be worse because here's the thing. And that aspect, then yes, if they have the same exact situation, not worse because that child is going to hell anyway. But would it be harder for them to get actual prosecution? If you look at even nowadays, if there were a black kid that were to be, or any other race kid that was taken away, or a white one, whose faces go up first in the poster? I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Nowadays, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But back in the day, it was definitely the white person first. But now, I don't know. But either way, it's not about who gets the privilege. It's that everyone should be treated equally. And that we should have laws in place to have the characters be enriched and not be talking about this so much. Because it's the characters and what we're instilling in our children and how instilling what kind of people they need to be. And it's not about the race or what you're wearing. You need to be instilling this actual caring about other people and your classmates and actually being a person. It's not about who's white or black, and the more we keep talking about it, the more we keep perpetuating that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we need to talk about, okay, are you a good person?
Yeah.
And if you're not a good person, why are you not a good person in this instinct? And do you see that? And if you see that, do you want to change that? If you want to change that, then cool. And that's the way we talk about, not about the race, because the more we talk about race, the more that's going to be an issue, because that's all we're talking about. But when we start talking about things that people are talking about, which is mentality, and so I was talking way too fast. I can barely understand myself. When you start talking,
it comes down to the fundamental principles of like, because this is what's been lost with the decline of religion, is people don't focus on what's good and what's evil anymore. Like that's why the shift has been focused to which race is oppressing which other race and like who's higher on the diversity hierarchy and all this shit. Is because people don't have an idea of what good and evil are anymore.
I don't think that... Okay.
It's like, we don't know how to identify good and evil, so they have to, like, separate people in different categories and be like, this group of people are bad, and this group of people are oppressed, and we need to support this group of people. And that's why you get this justification for the whole diversity agenda, because it's like, there's too many white people in positions of power. We need to have more black people in here, more Mexican people, more Asian people, whatever. We need to diversify the situation because white people have, dominated the situation because, they've oppressed people and taken advantage of it. And it's like, it's demonizing a group of people instead of recognizing what is actually making a human being, regardless of their skin color, bad or good. Like, people don't focus on that anymore because they recognize that Jesus wasn't a zombie and he didn't walk on water. So, like, everybody's like, let's throw everything out with the bathwater because, magic isn't real. And
I just want to mention one thing. Even if, let's say our society's school system, for instance, is going down the drain, yes, it's going to hit the minorities harder, but it's still going to hit the more privileged races hard too. It's not about who's getting hit harder. It's about why is this even happening?
Yeah, nobody wants to look at the big picture. It's like all a competition for who's struggling more
Because
and
when
who
you get
has
to
it
the-
worse, and like
Because when you get to the point of like, oh, we just need someone that's black in that spot, just fill it. Then you're choosing anyone. Then the quality doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're just choosing someone,
Yeah.
and that means instead of going to the basis and preparing those children of those races, so you can have them be a good representative, not just any representative.
and that's
but it's-
insulting to black people to be
And-
like it doesn't matter what they think, just if they're black. And
It
it's
is
like
insulting the human race, and it's insulting the community as well, because it's saying that we don't really give a fuck about the mindset of what you guys actually want. We'll say we're gonna go with that. We don't really give a fuck. We're still gonna do what we want, as long as we pacify you, putting someone with that you can identify with, thinking that's enough. And we fall for it all the time, thinking that that's enough to pacify us. But then when the results their actions don't match what they say they're gonna do, then we get mad, and then we totally forget that we fell for the bullshit. We fell for the, oh my god, I'll be nice to you. Like, it's okay. I'm so sorry for beating you. I'm so sorry. And then they beat you again, and then they apologize again. It's the same shit, dude. Like, we just keep getting abused, and we allow it to happen because we're being pacified by such basic shit as in skin color. Instead of, okay, we want someone to represent our race. We need to go and plant these seeds with these little ones now, make sure that they're good, and then when they are old enough, and if they want to, they'll be prepared intellectually to lead properly, not just throw anyone up there who's a dumbass because he's in there.
it's insulting to
No.
black people to have things like affirmative action, because then like employers who are hiring people don't know if the black applicants that are applying for the job are actually the person that they need to hire for the job, or whether they're getting promoted just because of their skin color. And it does a total disservice to the actual super intelligent black people that could be, coming up in society. It's like, did they get this position because of their of their actual capacity, or did they get it because of some diversity quota that's like just based on promoting a certain skin color? It's like so dumb.
What do you say does a disservice for all the races? Because it doesn't matter who's applying, because even if it is the most intelligent person, even still, if
Oh yeah, it's a disservice to everybody, because
because
there
your
could be
intelligence is being like thrown out the window for everyone. You worked your ass off to get here, and all of a sudden, a black guy walks in, and you're like,
yeah.
it's not black, white against it. We're not against each other. I think we keep putting each other against each other. And the thing is that people don't realize the higher ups are the ones that are putting us against each other, and we are falling for it. There's no, we're not opposing each other unless they brought it up. They're gaslighting us. They're literally gaslighting us, and we're letting. The government is gaslighting.
Let's read some comments. Simply A is giving us some gold here. Okay, let's say he says they've done blind auditions for the Vienna Orchestra. Okay, we got 4 watching. They've done blind auditions for the Vienna Orchestra. I think that specific orchestra, and everyone who passed was Asian females. It made me giggle. Asian women, they got some IQ,
And they have tiger moms.
and they can cook you some fried rice if you
I
want.
said tiger moms. You said fried rice.
Take a mama, fried rice. Ooh. So can you, Simply A says, can you ask your housemate her opinions on black conservatives? There's a Vice documentary that was actually really interesting. You should watch it, guys. Yeah, we were just talking about, in the joke there, Ben Carson. I was just telling her who Ben Carson is. And how black people immediately write him off as some kind of coon and black and Uncle Tom. It doesn't matter what she thinks. Okay, let the white man talk. All right. I don't kidding. Stop.
No. I'm waiting for the guy to show up, bro.
Well, he'll text you when he's here. Whatever.
No, my volume is down, so I don't interrupt your thing. First of all,
What's down?
to answer your question, how I feel about conservatives,
Answer him. I gotta piss. But what do you think about black? What do you think about black conservatives?
Well, I haven't seen the thing you talked about for Vice. I don't know what you're talking about, but you can put it in the name of the documentary you're talking about, because I love Vice. One of the best channels ever. Real talk, though. Seriously. And I just think black conservatives, be conservative. I don't care. Just don't be hypocritical in the sense that, like, black people are some of the most racist people out there. I've heard some black people say some horrible things about the races, and people just laugh, and I think that's wrong. I think it has to be equal on both sides, whether you're insulting or being racist or prejudiced or anything. you have got to, in my opinion, have got to be fair on both sides. If you're not fair, then don't get mad when someone gets mad at you because you're not being fair. You have to, you can be as conservative as you want to do. That's your choice. I don't care what you do. But as long as you're fair on both sides and you actually admit your faults on your actions as well, and you see the hypocrisy in that you can say hunky, or I can say hunky or whatever, but he says the N-word, it's racist. Like, wait, no, it's also racist when I say hunky, and that's not funny. If you're gonna get mad at him, you have to get mad at me too. And if you don't, then aren't you being racist or prejudiced? And aren't you just being like?
Well, I see that argument because the word nigger is so charged.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care about historically. I don't care about what. For me personally, I don't care. It's a derogatory term that you're saying. You're speaking about someone outside of their name, and especially if they get offended by that. If they don't like it, if it's not their name, and they get offended by that, and you do that to them, that's not okay. And if it doesn't matter what race you are, that's not fair.
Honky is a more.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Honky is a more offensive one than
it doesn't
cracker.
matter. It doesn't matter. They're all offensive.
I think honky is more offensive than cracker.
It doesn't matter more or less.
Cracker doesn't bother me at all. Honky is like.
Guess what? When you murder someone, even whether it's intentional or not, it's still that person's still dead. If you hurt someone intentionally or not, whether it's super offensive or not that offensive, it's still offensive. You're offending someone.
Yeah, it's fundamentally dehumanizing.
And if you really don't care, then you should not care about the opposite happening to you too.
But I think you should be able to say both.
I think you should say both or neither.
I think you should be able to say both. I think like that's the fundamental. Let's exercise some free speech here. Let's put your hands on my shoulders.
I don't want to do that.
I'm gonna call you a nigger and you call me a honky.
I'm not gonna do that.
We're gonna do it for progressivism.
I don't want to do that at all. It's so weird. I don't want to do that only because I don't want to be on camera and be saying that's weird. But no, I just
this is an exercise in healing society. All right.
Not at all. No, but hey, it's definitely not what's gonna happen. I will not be on camera with that shit. I'm not stupid, guys. Be serious.
Nothing's gonna happen to you. If anything's gonna happen, it's to me.
I don't care. Because first of all, I don't use that kind of language anyway.
I just think it's fun. I think a lot of what's been lost in the racial tensions are the ability to make jokes about each other. Like I think everybody should be able to make. You obviously don't like mean something with a hateful tone and be like, "Oh, you nigger!" Like that's terrible. But like to like drop an N-bomb in a funny way is like. It can bring people together if you can make a good racist joke, and everybody can laugh at it. If everybody can make racist jokes about each other, then it takes the power away from it.
Or make a song about it, hence rap music, hence music.
Yeah.
Then how are you? My thing is, how do you get mad when someone says the N-word in a song when they bought your album? And then you get mad. That blew my mind. I just don't get that.
We make racist jokes between each other sometimes, and it's like it's an expression of how like our affection for each other, because we know that the other one isn't going to be offended because we know that we don't hate each other, and so it's like if I call her my slave and like make a joke about like how she's like doing the dishes for me, like. She doesn't care because she knows I don't fundamentally like think she's subhuman or some shit because I like say the word nigger. Like it's like everything is so charged up now and so overly serious. It's ridiculous. And so that's what I'm trying to do with the stand-up is like poke the sacred bears and get people to laugh at shit that's supposed to be so serious and off topic.
And if I call him a snowflake, there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, it's fine. Like, milk dud. We've been going forever. We could just go.
Let's listen to another stand-up clip.
But, like, if you were to hear him, he sounds like a black guy just by himself. You didn't see his face. It's really weird. And if you hear me, I sound like not a black guy.
All right, let's listen to Gold Diggers and Prenup. I don't think you've heard this one, but I did this one.
I think I have.
Give it up for the hilarious Nick Jordan.
Is he breathing?
So I got a hypothetical dream I want to share with you all. I want to be rich. As I assume most, or at least some of the people in here also want to be. I'm hoping this white privilege check is going to cash itself at some point. But I just think about it like I want to like if I'm gonna make some money, I want to make a bunch of money before I get married. Because I also don't want to marry a gold digger. That's like my biggest fear. Like I want to experience like single rich man pussy before I ever get married. Like, you know, because even if I was like getting married to, you know, if I got in contact with Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, there's $70 billion women out here walking around, dude. She's tired of hanging out with short Jewish dudes. I mean, there's a tall German here waiting for you. I mean, that's all I'm saying. But, you know, I think to myself, like, how much money would I really need to stay committed to some 40-year-old used up pussy?
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, what's the point of having $70 billion if you're not gonna get a whole like buffet of new pussy with it? This is how men think, ladies. And you know, I'm speaking for all men, and they haven't disagreed yet. So. Yeah, dude. I'd be the saddest motherfucker driving around in a Bugatti you ever seen, dude. Sorry, miss, I'm taking.
Oh my gosh, she's such an asshole.
Stay faithful to Miss Bezos, Sarah. Torture, dude. You'd have to assign a goddamn bodyguard to me. Make sure I keep this dick in my pants, you know. Andre, stay with him. I'm trying to fuck around the corner under there. Hey! Back
So true.
God damn it, you're good. You're good, Andre.
You're
good. Oh, no. It's a hypothetical struggle I'm in. I know you all feel it. But, you know, if I already have money before I get married, then you gotta, like, try to negotiate a prenup. Because that's, like, the only way I'm gonna be feeling comfortable with the shit. That's... The prenup's the hardest shit you can possibly negotiate. Because, you know, it's like, baby, you know, I've been with a lot of girls, but, you know, you're special to me. I love you. You know, I'm gonna have a kid with you. But I'm not going out like Jeff Bezos. Alright?
Did she take off her shirt? Yes.
She's like, I saw how his ex-wife made out. We're not getting a motherfucking prenup, bitch.
Okay.
Getting married with no prenup is like sticking your dick in a mousetrap that the girl says is disengaged. Don't worry, it's broken. It's not even it won't do any of that. Just go ahead. I trust you, baby. I think I do.
See, that analogy never worked.
It's more like having sex.
Like hearing that. Prenup. Yeah, dude. At some point, you gotta risk it, you know. At some point, you gotta risk it. I don't want to be that motherfucker with no wife and no kids and sitting alone in his fucking penthouse with just a little room full of fucking money. Staring back at me. Fucking 80 years old with a dick that doesn't work anymore.
No one take care of me either.
So rubbing my money all over my fucking old man broken dick.
Ew.
I've got my money to comfort me. It's crying and shit. Those bitches didn't get me. I won. I invested all my money in fucking life extension technology and fucking dick transplants. That's my future, ladies and gentlemen. My name's
No,
Nick
because
Jordan.
here's the thing. Okay, may I say something? So sorry, you go first.
Go ahead.
Okay, with the whole, I don't mind I think prenuptial agreements are important because, mind you, I'm gonna have one for my husband. But here's the thing: for you, also in that agreement should be, I don't know how long they were together, But imagine all the shit she went through when she was believing. Let's say it was since the beginning, believing in him when everyone else was telling him no. He took a lot of risks. She deserves some kind of payout because whatever their divorce reason was, but neither here nor there. Unless she really fucked up, then that's fucked up. But other than that, in my opinion,
I think he was cheating on her.
yes, then definitely she deserves half of it. Definitely, and she was with him to do all that. You know what it takes to put up with all the bullshit when there's no money, and then to be there when they do have money, and then he cheats. You're like, you don't take everything you have, or you fucking yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not even mad about that. Like that. She was with him when she's probably with him when he had nothing, and she still believed in him when most people obviously wouldn't have still been there. Business partners left him, his friends left him, I'm sure, family, I'm sure, didn't believe in him, but she was with him the entire time, and then he cheats on her. I
mean, that's terrible.
Bitch!
But is it worth $70 billion?
Yes, it is. Is it worth? Yes, it is. It was my time. Was her time wasted? Was her time not worth her time? She can't get that time back. She cannot get that back ever. He can make her money. He is making money now. She can't get that time back. She can't get the husband that she thought she trusted back. She can't get that back. So the least he can do is give her half of what he has. That's the least she can do. If you don't see that, then I don't know what to tell you.
Right, but she didn't build the company.
She was there to support him. Every time he came home and he had a hard day, she was there still uplifting him, making sure that he felt good about himself. Do you know how hard that is? Guys don't realize how hard it is to keep, when in the back of your head sometimes you're thinking, you want to tell them to do something else, but you don't because you believe in them, even when they don't believe in them. And it's hard, but it's not about, he didn't build it alone. Period. He didn't. He had a partner there with him who chose to stay with him. I'm sure it wasn't the first time he cheated on her either. That's a big sacrifice.
Yeah, he's a dickhole for cheating, for sure.
And like people, even if he didn't cheat, like divorces, like when you're with someone in the beginning, guy or girl, vice versa, whatever, that's a big deal. To have someone literally be with you and decide to stay with you and no one else through all that no money having ass, when people were telling you, doubting you, all that. And shit,
even regardless of the female commitment, like he chose to marry her, so like
yeah, he chose to cheat on her.
You can't fuck around.
Once
you make that decision, like what are you doing? You're an asshole.
Unless you have some sort of agreement or understanding that's like, okay, then, but they didn't. And he cheated on her. I'm like, bitch, you're still like, I ain't take it. Don't complain.
Yeah.
Because that's just the betrayal of everything. Like.
But it does, like, deter guys from marriage.
Because they're marrying the wrong girl then. I mean, if I really loved my husband enough, because they can say something, well, if you love me, then don't. If you love me, then don't have prenup. If you love him, then sign the prenup. If you know you're not going to break his heart and do anything malicious, then just sign it. And you should be having your own shit anyway. You shouldn't be depending on him anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't mind signing because guess what? I don't need you. I want to be with you. That's the difference between I don't need you, but I want to be with you. Yeah. It's a choice.
So as far as the joke, I don't know. I like that premise of I want to be rich before I get married, but I don't want to marry a gold digger, because it's that like conflict of like, if you have a bunch of money before you get married, then how do you really know if the girl is interested in you or interested in your money?
You have to know the girl. Who you don't really know. You just trust. That's why you trust. But you should maybe have a conversation with the girl before you marry her. Maybe I don't know. If you're really that rich,
the prenup is how you know. Because it's like, I don't know. Girls could put on an act for a year or two.
He can pay for like investigators to go see if she's lying. That's what I would do. If I really didn't trust her, first of all, I wouldn't marry her. And second of all, if I really had to go pay investigators, don't marry her.
Yeah.
You can't trust her. There's other ways to suss her out. Like, and again, females, you don't need guys' money. Period. You shouldn't need that.
Well, I think it's legitimate if a woman wants to have kids with a guy that she trusts that he's going to bring home the bacon while she's raising the kids.
He should be already bringing home the bacon. I should not be. No, if I'm pregnant, the bacon should have been already like in a savings account. That should already be established on both ends, not just one end.
Well, he's got to continue the company and shit.
Of course. He's no just because like the pregnant.
That's the way the best marriage works. Is the guy makes the money and the woman raises the kids. Just with our biology.
Mom, I don't believe that.
Because if
That's not how I was raised.
well, if both people are out working, then who's raising the kid?
My mom did both, so she still made money raising me at home.
And there were a lot of problems in your family.
Yeah, but she also still married, and they also still raised 4 girls.
Not.
We're not gonna get into my family's life right now. We're not.
We don't have to. I'm just saying
No,
general.
but even still, it doesn't matter. They still,
It's
still very possible.
I think it's too much strain on a woman to be a great mother and a great.
I think that's an insult. She's a great mom, and she's a great mom.
Some women can do it. I'll allow that. Some women
I
can
don't
do
care
it.
if you allow it or not. Just facts.
No, some women
I
can
need
do
you
it.
to allow it for to actually happening.
Allow is the wrong word. I will concede that some women can accomplish it, but for the average woman, it's a lot on their plate to be a great mom and a great career woman. Like usually, if you want to raise kids and have them be affectionate and respect you, you want to be there and care for them personally. You don't have to have a nanny and have daycare and have other people raise your kids. It's like, why did you have the kids then if you weren't going to be there to raise them?
I mean, I don't see myself wanting to stay at home with my kids for more than 5 years max, and even then, I will be like,
how dare you?
You're
gonna have rebellious teenage years.
I'm fine with that. I think I can live with that. I'm more than okay with that. I trust that I can schedule the time to do. No, I will not. Nope. Plus, I want to travel.
Well, they're not going to fundamentally respect you. That's when you build
you
the rapport.
You never had kids, so you don't know that. But here's the thing, and I also want to travel with my kids. I want to have a totally different lifestyle. Than I'm not going to be staying in one place. We're going to be traveling, me, my husband, and my kid. That's my goal, and that's what's going to happen.
Well, you got to have an international business thing.
Exactly. Thank you. Passive income is very important.
Yeah, but you agree. The main thing is having, personal time with your kids and being there and, with actually parenting. Like being a parent.
With both.
Being a parent isn't a noun; it's a verb.
Both.
Parenting is a verb. Like you are there parenting, teaching them about the world, and that's how they get respect for you as a parent.
Shouldn't the men do the same thing? Shouldn't they? Then when a guy comes home after working hard, he should not be complaining about spending time with his kids. I've seen that happen so many times. I don't want to spend time because I just came back from work. You don't think taking care of your kids is work? Have you cleaned up the house? The first time I had to clean up my house, my parents' home, by myself. That's a lot of fucking work. My mom did that every single day. Every single day. No wonder she's mad. Well, you didn't clean up after yourself. It's after room 2, I was exhausted. She would vacuum, dust, everything all day, and then make sure we got straight A's, all this, auditions, everything. That's a lot of work. You just want to work with adults, to deal with adults. I deal with children all day, and make sure that they don't look disgusting, and have to go auditions and make money, and do all these things, take them classes, and wake up 3 a.m. But you have a job. I'm so sorry. That's right. It's so hard.
So you think there's potential with the job?
Yes. Guys, the guys are so. Sometimes I hear the guys say like, "Oh, I have to go make the bacon, so it's hard." Do you know what? It's like World War III with children at home. It's like World War III because you have to take them places. You have to make sure they're not messy. And then you don't have time to yourself.
Yeah, it's important. That's why it's a full-time job, I think.
Yeah, but then I'm saying that guys shouldn't come home. Guys coming home and complaining, "Oh, I was just at work." I don't give a fuck if you were just at work. Do you know what I was just doing?
No, it's not. I don't give a fuck. It's game recognized game.
Guys say that all the fucking time.
Because dads have a hard day at work, moms have a hard day at home with the kids.
No, they have a hell of a hard day with their children.
Yeah.
And not with adults all day.
Guys out there competing with sharks.
No, with other adults.
For meat.
They're not with children, and children
competing for meat.
Children don't have logic. Adults do. Children are children. And you have to go down to their level all day, and there's more. It's just more than
That's why women have more emotion than logic, because they're good with that shit. They can relate to emotionally to the kids.
I just think that guys need to also realize that what women do at home is also a very big job, and that I remember the first time my mom left my dad alone with us.
No, it's important. You make tuna salad, and then you put the DVD in the DVD player, and
he regretted that.
It's hard.
He regretted saying yes to her leaving for a week and leaving us alone with him. Kissing the ground she walked when she came back. It was bad. We walked all over him. It was so easy.
He's like a substitute teacher.
It was horrible. Like my mom was like, "What happened to the?" Okay.
All right, let's play another stand-up clip. Let's do. Okay, this one didn't work as well. Let's listen to this one. Oh no, let's do a different one. Let's do this one. Let's talk about welfare and the border situation here, ladies and gentlemen.
The board situation.
Border.
Oh, God damn it. Let's get him up here. My man, Nick Jordan, everybody.
That's Sasha. Sounds like Sasha.
That's the guy that runs the Robbing the People political show, Rob Morris.
He sounds just like Sasha.
And he did, in this show, he did a big intro about like how he, appreciates that I was filling in on the show and like in this whole thing. And I talk about that when I get on stage.
Mr. Rockmore said about me to start the show. Very, very nice of you. He said that we disagreed on a lot
He says he's bisexual. So that's kind of a setup for the joke.
Ooh, that was-
of stuff, and I would disagree with that. I think it's more. Appreciate all those wonderful things Mr. Rockmore said about me to start the show. Very, very nice of you. He said that we disagreed on a lot of stuff, and I would disagree with that. I think it's more kind of just he's wrong and hasn't realized it yet. And I kind of look at it like I was maybe like 10 years ago, minus the bisexual thoughts. There's hope, there's hope for growth, and that's what we're here for at the fourth wall. I think, one of our main disagreements is I do not trust the government. He seems to trust the government. I don't, it doesn't seem like the best strategy. Like we've been trying, the war on poverty started in 1964. And I just see people shifting positions when I say the war on poverty. This is not going to be a history dissertation. Okay. Jokes are coming. It started in 1964, and it was supposed to get rid of poverty. We put $25 trillion into it so far, and the poverty rate has gone down 2%. So, I used to play poker a lot, and, with my expertise, I can say that's not the best return on investment, never. And I've been broke all my life, so I understand the market state.
I've been broke my whole life.
And I understand that when you just dump a bunch of money on the head of a broke person, it does not solve their problems. I've been broke all my life except for one weekend out of my life where I managed to win 10 grand playing online poker. And goddamn if I wasn't high stepping in high school after that. I was a big dick in high school, dude. I was the king of the fucking world. And let me tell you how fast I blew that money. It went so fast. Shut up.
That line never gets a laugh. Let me tell you how fast I blew that money. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either because it's a good line. It's just
Here, listen to this one a second.
My first purchase was the same set of golf clubs that Tiger Woods used in the 2008 PGA Tour. Extravagant set of Nike blades, okay, and did not help my game. I definitely looked like I could play, but then you saw me dump the fuck out of my first tee shot and attempt to break the club over my knee, and I was extra fucking enraged because you look like you're supposed to play good, and I knew I had spent a little bit too much money. That's all reading Ben Hogan's 5 lessons and shit, and still just every shot is terrible, 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 and nobody wanted to play with me, and I couldn't play them. The rage came out, and then I spent the rest of that money on an engineering degree that I had no disillusions about finishing. Because I got there and realized, oh yeah, I don't want to do this shit every day the rest of my life. What was I thinking? And so every day just ended up with me smoking weed, looking at my calculus homework, like, I better engineer a new career path. It's not going to work out since I think I'm going to play Call of Duty now. I mean, like, I'm a broke person mind state. You have to learn how to have money. Like, if somebody gave me $1 million tonight, I give it maybe a month before they find me dead. They would have to excavate my fucking body out of a pile of cocaine in a hotel.
So gross.
We dug for hours. We finally found the body. There were so many confused prostitutes in the room with me.
Confused prostitutes.
That's how it goes, man.
So confused prostitutes.
A lot of debate about the border situation. And I think the most ridiculous idea is that somehow having a border wall is racist. It's like, if that's the case, I think we should probably be focusing on the border walls that already exist in Israel and China and how racist these countries are.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta be kosher as fuck to get into Israel, alright? I think what they do is they make you take a kosher taste test from they got 2 slices of pizza and you gotta decide which one has been blessed by a rabbi. Wrong! Circumcised! Like, what?
What?
Circumcised. And I'm like, we're taking more of that dick. And you're like, what? China makes you do a Rubik's Cube on the spot at the border.
So good.
They make you, eat an entire meal with chopsticks and don't fuck it up. It's like, you did it
Not
wrong.
possible.
Well, let me see what your fortune cookie says. Oh,
But that would be a good test though.
The Rubik's Cube?
No, the fucking eating a whole
Oh,
bunch of
eating a meal with
like,
chopsticks?
That
Yeah.
shit's impossible. I can't even do like any of the meal with chopsticks. Like, and
To
I
get
did
into China, man,
and
you
I
gotta...
dated a Japanese guy for 5 years. Couldn't do it. I could stab something with it, but
I dated a Chinese chick for like 6 months.
5 years, 6 months. Which one's longer? Which one's longer? 5 years, 6 months, guys. Can you use chopsticks?
Yeah.
But who's a higher
Rudimentary.
IQ? Who has a higher IQ? Who also is a recovering drug addict?
Based on one test, it's a limited
No,
sample
we took
size.
3. Don't lie. We took 3. He was so.
I took 1.
We took 3. I see. This is. Why do we even do things together if you don't remember any of it?
I didn't take 3.
Yes, you did. You were right next to me. You know what?
You took it next to me.
We took 3. You know what? I'm done.
We did not take 3.
We did. It doesn't matter. We can take one right now. I'm still a higher IQ than you. It doesn't matter. But your camera's gonna run out of battery soon, so how about we play that for another time? Because I don't mind beating you on camera.
No, it's
But
not
it
gonna run out of
doesn't
battery.
change-
It's charging.
It doesn't change the fact that I still chose to do drugs for 3 years. It doesn't matter how smart you are, you can still become an addict. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll go back. Sorry, I have to go.
I like that joke at the income inequality of breaking down how the government has spent 50 years and $20 trillion fighting the war on poverty, and poverty has gone down 2%.
2%. Only like $9 million more dollars to go.
And I kind of want to make an analogy to my poker plan of how I know that that's a terrible return on investment. Is your weed here?
Yes, I'm going to see you. Can you not say it so loud?
Is your drugs here?
Shut up.
That's what we got to do to get some viewers on the podcast. We got to do drugs live on the
No,
internet.
that's not what I'm going to do, sir. I have it. No. I'm looking for everything, please. Why are you so racist? That's all I ever seen you.
We lost all our viewers. The stand-up shows.
Bye. Oh no, it's so great.
Missed a lot of comments here. What we addressed affirmative action earlier. You know, there was a point where it made sense, where, you know, white people dominated the workforce and black people represented a certain percentage of the American population, and they weren't being represented in the workforce. And it kind of made sense, you know, for a couple years there to let, you know, black people have a fair shot at getting hired. But at a certain point, it becomes redundant, like, and actually insulting to the black community, to where like they like don't know if they're fundamentally being chosen because of their competence, because of their skill, and or if it's just because of their skin color that they're getting a fair shot at the position. And you know, if I was a black dude, I would kind of be insulted by that. You know, I'm not being chosen based on my competence. I'm being chosen based on some kind of diversity quota because of my skin color that I had no choice in, that I'm being afforded some opportunity that's like because of some nebulous historical oppression that I had nothing to do with. And it's like, you're blaming people that grew up in a generation with no actual oppression going on. And it's like, it just goes on forever. The affirmative action just never ends. There's never an end in sight. And there's no like, there's no like, this is good enough. There's no like, oh, we're afforded the same opportunities legally. Like, if you look at the laws on the books right now, there's no laws on the books that benefit white people and disadvantage non-white people. It's the exact opposite. There's only affirmative action laws. There's no laws that say your company has to have a certain percentage of white people. It's just, you know, the leftists rely on this argument of there's this, you know, mystical systemic oppression that somehow prevents minorities from getting into the workforce, and like there's no provable, tangible thing they can point to. It's just like supposedly white people in boardrooms sit around and are like planning how to keep minorities out of the workforce, and it's just it's a false narrative that continues to be pervaded and make black people feel like they're victims and like they need some assistance from the government to get in the workforce. It's like, no, if you can do the job better than the next guy, you'll get the job in America. That's what's great about free market capitalism. If you provide the best service, if you provide the best product, if you are an inventor, if you create something amazing, you will be rewarded in free market capitalism. But that's a meritocracy. That's like, that idea has been lost, of the meritocracy of you know, giving the rewards and the position to the people that work the hardest, that provide the best service, that provide the best product. And you know, affirmative action is totally antithetical to that idea of a meritocracy. It's based on skin color. It's antithetical to everything Martin Luther King ever said: content of character over color of skin. But you know, the leftists are so obsessed with identity politics and playing toward demographics and getting people to vote for them that it's like, you know, they're race pimps, and that's what they play towards. And so that's what gets them votes, is like they're fighting for our team. And like, that's what affirmative action is tribalism, you know, entered into the legal system. And there's just no place for that in a true meritocracy or in free market capitalism. It's based on a false premise that, you know, certain groups are excluded from the workforce just based on how they look. And it's like, if you think that's really how the system works, you're so stuck in the past, it's ridiculous. Like, nobody gives a fuck what you look like anymore. Like, it's just based on what you produce. I mean, if you produce results, just look at the music industry. I mean, it's totally dominated by rap now because they're producing higher quality music than people who are making rock music. And so it's like the top 100 Billboard charts are dominated by rap music because that's the shit that people like to listen to now. And it's like, does anybody give a fuck about what the skin color of the people creating this music is? It's like, no. Like, tons of white kids and white men, and you know, we love rap music. As long as it's good, as long as it's not this horseshit mumble rap. You know, I mean, even some of the mumble rappers make some good tracks because the producers are so good. But I mean, it's a meritocracy. If you make the shit that gets you know, gets the panties dropping, gets the club all hot and bothered, then it's going to be up on the top 100 Billboard charts. And it doesn't matter what the fuck your skin color is. It's a meritocracy.
Meritocracy, yay!
It's about time we smoke some weed on the podcast.
Sure.
We got to get some viewers in here. I'm talking about affirmative action from a guy who commented like an hour ago and then left.
It's okay, you probably get sleepy. We are up extremely late, like, you gotta be there. And I don't care, I just like talking with you.
Yeah, I had like 9-10 viewers last night going live when I was this time last night.
Hey,
Everybody's busy on a Friday night.
It's not about the people that watch you, it's about the show that you put on.
Yeah, this would be a good one to listen back to. We've broken down some stand-up and some societal issues here.
You're amazing.
Let's do some drugs on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
You're so crass. We're not doing anything crazy, though.
It's more fun when you phrase it like that. We're doing drugs on the podcast.
No, stop saying that. Please stop repeating that sentence. Dear God.
We're doing drugs live on the
Stop,
internet.
Please stop. You're so crazy. Thank you. Excuse me. Look,
Hold on, I loaded this.
it's not even your lighter. I love how I bring the weed and I bring the lighter and you do this. No, I don't want your stupid. Oh, you're so savage. Oh, this is really, really good stuff too. Fuck. This is blue spurt. Always the best for me.
I don't know. People who aren't watching this are missing out.
I don't care.
She don't care. Let's listen to another stand-up clip. I think you heard this one. I was talking about wish my dad was a psycho sports dad. Yeah, let's play a different one. I think there's something here with The Rock that could be made funny. But I almost got there, but I didn't quite get there.
Really?
I'm jealous of everybody's sweater. I'm stuck in JC Penney land over here. Oh, dude. Yeah, the weirdest conspiracies to me are the people that are convinced the Jews have taken over the world. It's just like, I think you're confusing like a giant conspiratorial government takeover with a little higher average IQ. That's what's going on. Like, I don't think the Jews conspired to get together and be like, guys, we should be smarter. Let's just be smarter than everybody else. Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, that's the point. You know? I don't think that's what happened, dude. Love Jews, man. Love Jewish people. Not the women, though. That's
You're stupid.
a whole lot of neurotic attitude and no ass to back it up. You know, it's just, I just want to do business with a man. You know, like if me and Alex did coke together, we'd probably come up with, you know, the next rival for Apple. You know, the demise of Steve Jobs and then the rise of our shit. You know? I was looking at Instagram today, and The Rock just mystifies me. Like why are you working out so much? Like, what is the point of this? Like, you're not a professional athlete anymore. He's like double the size he was when he was a wrestler. Like, you pretend for a living now, bro.
He really is.
What are you getting so big for? You know, like, it's just insane. He has giant chains draped over him, and everything's like apocalyptic and miserable, and it's like pain, it's happiness.
And your
It's
little
like,
daughter.
it's supposed to be inspiring and shit. I think he's training for the apocalypse, dude.
I'm good.
He must, I don't know, he must know more than I give him credit for. He's probably on to the Federal Reserve and they got an impending economic collapse, you know. He's gonna
That
be
got
a
nothing.
dude.
I thought that was gonna be hilarious. It's like that's the reason why The Rock is training so hard, is because he knows the economy is about to collapse because he's done deep research on the Federal Reserve, and he knows. And so you know that's why he's doing these heavy fucking dips with chains around his neck. Is he's like he's gonna be a warlord in the apocalyptic future.
You need to slow down your delivery. That's all, baby. Shut down.
But then you know it's really just to eat sushi.
And shit. But you know, then you see he posts his cheat meals, and it's like, oh, that's why he works out. So you can eat a party platter of sushi and not feel bad about yourself, David. Fucking glutton.
The glutton thing bombed. I don't know why I said that, but the idea of like contrasting those two things, like he's working out to be a warlord in the apocalyptic future.
Really?
I'm probably giving him too much credit. He just wants to eat all that sushi.
Really, just for vanity.
But that's the deal. Like, man, if you work out on an empty stomach, and you can eat like whatever the fuck
Isn't
you
that
want.
kind of like a mirror of how society actually is? We think all our tax money is going to go for all these great things. Reality is just going into their wallets. Just like we think The Rock's going to be like helping for the apocalypse. He's just doing it so he can eat sushi. Like, we think such grand things of our world. We think
he also wants to play Hercules.
We think bigger than our dick. We think our dick is bigger than it is, guys.
That's partially why I'm working out, is because, you know,
not partially, completely.
No, eventually I want to, you know, have somebody see me on stage and then approach me and be like,
"Can I suck your dick?"
No, I wrote this action script.
No.
Where you know I was gonna have Arnold Schwarzenegger play him, but he got too old. So, you know, I'm putting you in the lead role, and I play the reboot of Predator, real style.
I believe in you. I have faith that you can.
I want to be in the jungle just with a, you know, fully automatic machine gun.
I back it up 100%.
Full beard.
You're fucking up. I'm gonna tell you when you're fucking up. Every time.
With a bandana. Made of leaves.
I've seen this guy come from like thinking Christians were absolute the stupidest people on earth to being like, well, I won't judge them so harshly, and I can respect their opinion, but not agree with it, but definitely still atheist. I thought that would never happen, so I agree that maybe that happened.
Well, it's just recognizing the role that Christianity played in the birth of this country.
I remember crying so hard after our conversations some days that we were like just so like hard in pain, like not even gonna fuck with my feelings about what you're saying, and I was like, what? And then now he's like, well, and I'm like, I hope I helped make that happen. You're welcome.
Yeah, because it's just recognizing the majority of Christians lead good, productive lives and are smart people. Like, it's just, you know, compared to any other religion, like compared to Islam, like the average Muslim's way they lead their life, like in their own countries, they're participating under these governments that are like super oppressive and backwards and barbaric.
But Islam
and
doesn't
fucked
say
up.
anything. The extremists you see that are representing Islam, that's not how Islam is. Look at the actual culture. They don't do.
I'm just talking about the governments of the countries.
Fuck the government. If our government was to represent us for all the other countries, then we're fucked. No one is on our side at all.
Our government's pretty good compared to other ones.
No, compared to betrayal.
As far as personal freedom,
But at least you know what you're getting with that government. With us, they pretend like, oh, I'm nice and sweet. I'm gonna beat you at that. No, you know you're gonna beat in the morning.
Our government's fucked up. Don't get me wrong.
I'd rather have straightforward than
But
fucked up.
Sharia law.
Well, actually, I don't know about that because I don't want to get never mind.
Do you
Take it back. I like where I am. Never mind. I won't leave. I'm just kidding. I like it here.
Do you want the process of being able to drive a car eventually?
Yeah, and I don't want to be like maybe be in the streets cool. Like it's never mind. I like it. America, yay! Go.
You better put that hood up.
Ew,
And you need a hijab as well.
Stop! But you're just. I'm so sorry. Stop your arm. Like a baby. Punch in the face. No, I'm sorry. Dear Lord.
Well, 0 people are currently tuning into the stand-up show.
But doesn't mean this won't be like this is so archived forever archived in the YouTube videos. No one's ever gonna watch this and be like, oh my god, this is so raw.
Anyway, the bit about The Rock, there's something there, but
he's just jealous of The Rock.
But he is just so awesome. It's hard to make fun of him.
He's just so jelly. And he has a little baby girl. His daughter's so cute. A little girl. I'd take her home with me. She's so cute. Oh, you eat my friend. Come on. She's so cute. He's like so into his daughter.
I feel like anytime I bring up The Rock's name on stage, people are like tense up that I'm gonna make fun of him.
How dare
because they're
you?
so awesome.
Because he's so cute and he has a baby girl. Don't mess with The Rock. He loves that baby
he's
girl.
hard to hate on. He's just so legit.
Those big muscles, the little baby in his arms. I'll do whatever he wants. That's the hardest combination. Guy who's big and who's rich and who's already established and then has a little baby. What wouldn't you do for that? What wouldn't you do for that? Gay, straight, or bi? I don't care. What would you do for that?
You know what would fundamentally destroy society if The Rock got caught in some Bill Cosby shit out of nowhere?
That's not gonna happen, The Rock.
I know.
I will stand up for you forever. It's not possible.
I'm just saying, theoretically, if that happened,
No,
the world
how dare
would
you even
fracture.
realize that?
It would be like one of his movies.
That would not be a world I want to live in.
That's what I liked about that movie, Gone Girl. Did you ever see that?
No.
That's the one movie I've ever liked Ben Affleck in.
Ben Affleck is a...
Is that story of the chick dying and then
yeah, I know the story.
him getting blamed for it and then it's not true and then you see how they framed him and all this weird shit that unfolds. It's that's
America?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying I like that movie.
He's like, wait, what? No, but really, I just confused the shit out of Nick right now. He's like, oh, what? I rarely ever get to see that face. Like, oh yeah, I can't think. He's like heading for a second. Wait, what? No. That's cool. We're fine. No, but I think Ben Affleck, I have to say,
but I'm talking about The Rock.
He's an actor who knows he's not a good actor, but he's still making money. Even as the Batman, as an actor.
I can't support him in any other movie.
No, I'm sorry,
Game.
But Game knows Game. The Game told him he sucked. He's like, bet I suck. I'm just gonna act like I don't know that I suck, and I'm gonna be cool about it. It's so cool that you keep hiring me, and I'm gonna be Batman. Why? Mm-hmm. So I fucks with Ben Affleck because the Game tried to boot him out. They had to in some way. He's not a good actor. He was like, no, just keep laying it to wall. You'll blend it eventually. Fuck. And he's so cool. I imagine him never, him getting mad and be 2 seconds and he's calm as fuck, which is really hot. When a guy's, super calm and then he, blows it for a second and he's like, I'm good again. He's the same thing. He's he knows he sucks. He has to know he's not a good actor. He's not very versatile, rather. Geely was the Italian movie.
What is The Rock working out for?
His life?
He's getting so big.
So he can have anyone he wants?
He's getting so big though.
With
He's
the
not an athlete anymore.
His arms, the little baby girl.
He's not an athlete anymore. That's the thing.
Curl hair. Her hair's so it looks like whipped cream. It's so cute. She's so chubby.
It's the same thing with Joe Rogan. What are you working out so hard for, bro?
Why are you not working harder then?
No, I mean but if you're not lifting weights professionally or doing something athletic,
why do you care?
Because it's.
That is the question. What the fuck's that have to do with your life? Nothing.
I just think it's funny that they're like.
They're doing it because they want to. It makes them feel good. That's their high. Let them get high on themselves, asshole. Let them get high on themselves.
No, I'm not saying I
They
don't
work
like
out
working out.
oh my god, I could just fuck myself right now. I'm just so.
But it's
good.
That's all you post on the Instagram,
Yes, I'm on Instagram. Me, but I'm a nobody, so no one cares about my Instagram. But.
And then I said something about climate change here.
You inspiring glutton. And first of all, the term climate denier, that's and shit. And when you have to come up with a religious term of like, this is a cult, what, you're a denier?
So the governor of California partially blamed the California wildfires on climate deniers. The people that supposedly deny the settled science on climate change. First of all, there's no such thing as settled science. Science is a process of understanding things. And consensus...
So what the fuck?
Consensus is not science. Consensus is the opposite of science. Consensus is what most people think. Science is like, you take that hypothesis and then you run it through a set of experiments and you come up with a result. That's science, not fucking we get...
What do you call it? Salty science? What do you call it?
Government money, so we want to convince the public to pay another tax to the government to be able to, you know,
Like, honestly...
permanently supply our revenue as we have these like computer models that are supposed to predict 10 years in the future in the weather. Meanwhile, the Weather Channel can't get 10 days in the future consistently.
But here's the thing, no,
It's like...
have you ever seen the Wolf of Wall Street and that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio and what's his name, Matthew McConaughey sitting down at the table. He's introducing him to the job and everything. He's going off at he's telling him how you take the money out of their pocket, put it in your pocket, and you keep them on the wheel. What you do is that they're basically investing in nothing. It's not a here nor there, or it's nothing. It's not actually tangible.
Potential.
And right when they want to pull out, you fabricate, you make up something else, or is it for them to reinvest? That's, you just keep them on the wheel. That's what the government's doing with us. They're like, oh, you want your SSI? Oh, no, you don't want to do that. No. We take away for some dumbass reason. And they distract us and then take away our rights. And we sign away with that because we're too busy being distracted on what we see on the news. And they're keeping us on the wheel. We should be pulling out and taking our money back, but we're not. Business owners, get their money back. They basically get taxed on stuff they don't spend.
Yeah.
Like, we're not working the system. We're letting the system work us, and that's so sad.
Yeah.
The human created that, and we're all humans, bro. Fucking shit.
Part of it is the expert culture. Like, anybody can claim to be an expert on something and fucking get mainstream approval if they have a narrative that ends in the government getting more tax revenue. It's like, that's my business plan. Well, we'll let you on ABC to talk about your fucking whatever.
The divine expert and an expert. An expert can be an expert, not the expert, and it's not the divine expert, because the expert is taught by someone who's higher level.
I'm just looking for data that shows that there's going to be a major climate disaster in the near future. Like, I see no data. I see a lot of like people being
guys,
like,
we're not even trying to get ready. All people that
believe me.
We're not even getting ready, guys. For all you have to do, believe it. We're not even getting ready. So we're not getting ready either way. Why are we freaking out about something we're nowhere near ready? We don't know what's gonna happen. Let's see. Don't give a fuck. Like, it doesn't matter because we're still not even ready. Like, you know the date. Are you gonna be ready? No.
The rock
is. The date is literally tomorrow. Your bitch ass was too busy worried about when the date was to get ready. So fuck you. You know.
The Rock is ready for a climate disaster.
Even a week from now.
That's what he's training for. The Rock is training for when, like, you know, there's a giant earthquake and he's got to save the world in a helicopter and shit, like in one of his fucking movies. I'll be ready for the apocalypse as well, ladies and gentlemen.
They'll probably be fucking something.
Outrage TV will survive the apocalypse. I will be the lone patriot voice in the distance. Thanks to anybody who tuned in. I'll try to get to people's comments quicker, but we were in a back and forth, stand-up breakdown session here. And we thank anybody for tuning in. Like it if you like it, share it out. Nick Jordan himself on Instagram. At I am Nick Jordan on Twitter. Heaven signing off.
Samantha,
to any wonderful people that tune in.
not
You can
here.
find the full audio on search Outrage Cast on any of the podcast apps or iTunes or whatnot. Bitcoin address below if you're feeling generous. Thank everybody for tuning in. Signing off. We'll be back soon. Outrage TV, ladies and gentlemen.